So, Madam Chair, I actually, in consultation with the PCS, who is ordinarily also our supervisor, I think he has a more comprehensive response to this question. But because there is a requirement from my end, based on the letter that I received from the Senate clerk, I also prepared some submission. But the detailed submission on the historical background of the issue before us will actually be presented by the Prime Cabinet Secretary. And there is no much contradiction, as far as I'm concerned, between the submission that the PCS will present and the short one that I'm going to present. So can I proceed?
Yes, and you need to give us what is your role in this. Because I know you are the one who is holding most of the government properties in trust on behalf of the different departments, if I am not wrong. Yeah. But more specifically on this.
Thank you. So, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Senators, I'm grateful for the opportunity to appear before this committee pursuant to the invitation contained in the letter as referenced, which was dated 5th June 2026, requesting clarification of the circumstances surrounding the degazettement of Capitol Hill Police Station and the applicable legal framework, processes and procedures. Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, the National Treasury wishes to clarify from the outset that the establishment, designation and abolition of police stations are matters governed by Section 40 of the National Police Service Act. Under this provision, the Inspector General of the National Police Service is vested with the statutory mandate to designate, establish or abolish police stations, with such actions being effected through publication in the Kenya Gazette indicating the official name and location of the police station. Accordingly, the National Treasury has no statutory role in the establishment or degazettement of police stations. But Honorable Chairperson, I wish to state that since 2018, the National Treasury, in consultation with the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning, has been pursuing the acquisition of suitable public land for various public purposes, namely, 1, construction of the Kenya Financial Sector Regulators Headquarters; 2, allocation of lands to the African Trade Insurance Agency, ATIDI, for the construction of its headquarters; and 3, acquisition of land for the St. John Ambulance Headquarters. These efforts were undertaken in furtherance of government policy and commitments, including the Government of Kenya's commitment made in 2011 to host the headquarters of the African Trade Insurance Agency in Nairobi. So in 2018, a parcel of land located in the Upper Hill area of Nairobi and then occupied by the National Police was identified as a potential site. Subsequently, Cabinet approved the allocation of land to the African Trade Insurance Agency, with the expectation that the National Police Service would be relocated to an alternative site. However, it was later established that the identified parcel of land was unavailable for reallocation. Consequently, the intended allocation did not materialize, and the National Treasury has not received any further update regarding the matter. But I think the PCS has a more detailed information regarding this. So the National Treasury's involvement has therefore been limited to efforts aimed at securing suitable public land for the Africa Trade Insurance Agency, the Financial Sector Regulators, and the St. John Ambulance Headquarters. Despite continued engagements with the ministry responsible for lands, no suitable parcel of public land has been secured to date. So in view of the foregoing, I wish to emphasize the following: that Cabinet approved the provision of land to the African Trade Insurance Agency in 2018 in fulfillment of the Government of Kenya's commitment to host the agency's headquarters in Nairobi. Although a parcel of land in Upper Hill had initially been identified, it was established that the land was still unavailable for reallocation. At the time of communication, the National Treasury has continued to explore alternative public land options for the African Trade Insurance Agency, Financial Sector Regulators, and St. John Ambulance Headquarters. And finally, the establishment or degazettement of police stations remains a statutory function of the Inspector General of the National Police Service under Section 40 of the National Police Service Act. and the National Treasury has no mandate in that process. Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, I trust that this statement adequately addresses the issues raised by the committee. The National Treasury remains committed to cooperating fully with Parliament and with all government agencies in the discharge of their respective mandates. I thank you.
Thank you, CS. Members, any intervention? Senator Sifuna.
Yeah, I don't know where to begin, Waziri, because I had the early opportunity to read the response that came from the PCS. And your response is totally at odds with the response that has come from the PCS, because the PCS, when you go to his statement, he confirms that this land has actually already been allocated. The only reason you are here, Waziri, is because that all public land, essentially the people who have the titles to those properties, is the National Treasury. And we wanted clarity because we believe that this movement is, on the face of it, a movement of public asset into the hands of private entities. And that is why there was concern. The other questions I think we will take with the PCS there. Now, are you familiar with the legal status of these entities? For instance, if you were to be asked who the Kenya Financial Sector Regulator is, or who the Africa Trade Insurance Agency is, or who St. John Ambulance is in terms of their status and nature, are they private entities or are they public entities?
Actually, indeed, Chair, you are right, Senator Sifuna. This question should be addressed basically from PCS office, because it's in charge also of foreign affairs, where the host agreements reside literally. So I know African Trade Insurance, TD, very well, but the host agreement resides in PCS office. So you would be the right person to address all the issues around these entities. And I wanted to say that in terms of the responsibility of Cabinet Secretary, yes, all these parcels of land are registered. Then it used to be under Permanent Secretary for National Treasury. Now it is Cabinet Secretary. But again, the custody of the title deed for all security-related organs and agencies are with the ministry. So we are providing, we are like trustees, providing that guide and check in terms of making sure that transfers are done procedurally. But again, I want to be very, very clear that the title for this piece of land, whether it is a police station, they are with the parent ministries. In terms of the financial regulators, yes, I know the financial regulators like Capital Markets Authority and the Insurance Regulatory Authority. These were the financial regulators that needed the land to be settled. St. John's Ambulance, we all know the status of St. John's Ambulance, but that is what I can say for now.
Yeah, Chair, so that I close, Waziri, because your response is very brief and maybe the other questions are really not your forte here. There is a paragraph where you have referenced that it was later established that the identified parcel of land was unavailable for relocation. This was after the initial attempt to allocate this land. Yeah. Maybe you could provide us with the details why that land was not available for allocation during that period. And I would also want to know if you as a ministry, because the land is actually in the National Treasury, the title is National Treasury. It's in the name of the National Treasury on behalf of the people of Kenya. In terms of process, Waziri, do you believe that reallocating land from a police station, which is essentially a public service, to these private entities is a process that requires to be subjected to Article 10 of the Constitution? And finally, do you know as Treasury the value of that piece of land in Upper Hill? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think let the PCS come in to help me on this, because as I said before, that this matter is actually residing in PCS office. And Chair, you know, once I have my boss here, he should be the one speaking. I was wondering why I was invited alongside PCS. Ordinarily, I would only be invited if PCS was not coming, or if I come to give him support. But now, in this case, he didn't ask for my support. But I understand the Senate invited me because, as the National Treasury, we are the ones who are in charge of government assets for that matter. But now, to respond to Senator Sifuna, the procedure of transferring land is well documented, and it cannot be, the land cannot leave government to any other entity without a procedure or a process. Again, for anyone to have land in this country, whether private, it must come from public to private. So there is nothing illegal with the land which is public, that is designated for public use, in going to private entity if the process is followed. So if you may allow me, Chair, I think I should yield to the PCS to come in and address all these other questions, because I don't want to proceed and then I contradict what the PCS is presenting.
You know,
I'm being very careful.
The reason why we invited you, you are the custodian of government properties. And I'm sure once the property is supposed to be released, it must be brought to your attention before you release. So we wanted to know, of course, even you have to check whether the legal procedures were followed or not. So we wanted to hear from you whether the legal procedures as far as this matter is concerned was followed or brought to your attention. And we invited you specifically for that, even if your boss should be able to explain certain things. And again, AG actually wrote on the same matter because we wanted her to tell us whether legal procedures were followed, and she says she has never been involved as far as this matter is concerned. And we thought maybe Attorney General should have given a legal advice as far as this matter is concerned. So that is the reason why we invited all the relevant ministries. So if you say that you have nothing much to add, I think we can release you. And we wanted you to come before PCS because you said you wanted to leave for the other meeting. So that's why we invited you, number one.
Chair, maybe can I just say something? You know, we had a discussion with the PCS, and we had actually agreed that the PCS addresses this question. And in my view, yes, I hold the titles, but on behalf of government. And PCS is Prime Cabinet Secretary. Once he's here, I can only give him support. I should allow him to respond on behalf of the government. There is no government that I hold title for which is different from the government, where the PCS is actually coordinator of government affairs.
I hear you, but let me allow Senator Kamau first to say something.
Thank you very much. Now, before maybe you release the Cabinet Secretary, I have heard him very well, saying that he's fearing to do some contradictions in this matter. But, Chair, according to what I've seen in his response, is that already he has confirmed there is no suitable land that has been established for the entire process. So, and this document is signed and received. So how shall we treat this document?
Senator Sifuna?
Chair, on a light note, I don't really want to get into too many squabbles this afternoon. I'm in a fairly good mood today, Waziri. But this thing you keep repeating, it doesn't sit well with me. Because, you know, I believe in the constitutional architecture that we passed as a people, that there is no boss of yours in cabinet. There is the president who is the boss of cabinet. But that, besides, because it's your government, you decided to arrange it like that, we will respect it. But you have a responsibility, Waziri, because these titles, and I want to correct you, those titles are not held for government. You don't hold those titles for government. You hold them for us as the people of the Republic of Kenya. And the chair was making the point that if it says the title is in national treasury, surely, Waziri, at the point when somebody is transferring that piece of land because you hold it in trust for us, our minimum expectation is that you would have a say about it. But we have understood you, and I'm sure, you know what he wanted to suggest to you very politely, is that you withdraw this document because you'll have a lot of problems with that person you're calling your boss, because he has told us a different story, Waziri Mbadi.
I don't think so. You know, the comment that is there, Chair, about lack of suitable land was at the time that National Treasury sought to have land for a TD and for the regulators. So because the land was held by the National Police Service, it was already land that is allocated, so it was not available. But that does not mean subsequently it was not made available. So I want that also to come out clearly. I agree with the Senator Sifuna that this, by the way, I am together in the same league with Senator Sifuna as one of those people who believe in this constitution. I actually sat in the first committee which midwifed this constitution, the Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee. And I know how important the constitution is. And I agree that I know where Senator Sifuna is coming from. But again, in the same constitution, it allows the president to organize government. The president can organize government and give me a boss. And that is what exactly he has done. So I don't think I'm wrong to call PCS my boss. But that is subject for another day. I'm also in a very good mood, Senator Sifuna, today. I don't want us to fight. But in a nutshell, what I'm saying is we have a comprehensive response from the PCS covering the background, how this land has been allocated, where it is now, the ownership. So I would suggest that we just allow the PCS to give that detail so that the questions are raised from there.
Yes, Senator Abdul.
Chair, I think we've all heard the CS very clearly. I'm of the opinion that we allow the PCS to proceed, and since the CS still has time, he can sit in to support the PCS until at a time when he has to ask for leave, and then we allow him to leave. Chair.
I think he said he had a 3 o'clock meeting. 3:30. So you want to take leave? I think that is in order. We can allow him to leave. So Asante CS. But we'll call you back if need be. Sir. Naam. Niko bunge kuja pale Mshututu.